You are here for my top 5 dumbest movies in my video collection. And we're going to start off with number 5, Godzilla Vs Kong. This movie is as big and as dumb as they come. This is also a ton of fun and it sounds amazing. And that's why I bought it. Because this movie, it's in Atmos and it sounds incredible with Kong and Godzilla stomping around, fighting, and all of the bass and the sound effects with the surround sounds, the heights when they're going into the middle of the earth. It's incredible. I kind of bought this film on a whim, and I got it home and I tested it out here in my home theater, and I was shocked. I had seen this movie when it was first released. I just watched it on my TV. I didn't have my theater at the time. And so I watched it on my TV with just my TV speakers. I didn't even have a sound bar. And obviously I was very unimpressed. It was not a good movie. Then years later, I got it. I brought it home. I watched it here in my home theater and was blown away. This movie is so much fun. And I've seen it multiple times since then. And there's so many scenes from it that I used to demo with my friends. It's just so great. It's a ton of fun, and it's ridiculous, and it's preposterous, and it's over the top, but it's just fun. And what more do you want when it comes to movies? You just want them to be fun, and that's what this movie is. Number 4 is Midway. This movie is on this list because it looks terrible. It is all CGI. The entire movie is CGI. I looked at scenes where they're just sitting in a room, and I'm like, I think they're sitting in front of a green screen. Like, they couldn't be bothered to build a physical set, a physical room. It is, and not only is it CGI, it's bad CGI the entire way through. It is so bad. So you're wondering, why did I buy this movie? Well, it sounds amazing. It sounds incredible. It's in Atmos, and in my home theater, it is really good with the planes flying around, the bullets, the explosions, the action. It is incredible, and that's why it's on this list, because it is dumb, but it sounds fantastic. And kind of as a side note, 2 of the main characters in this movie, which would be Woody Harrelson and Dennis Quaid, they're kind of the big name stars in this film. They barely appear in it at all. And when they do, it's only them and a couple other people in the scene. It makes me wonder if those 2 guys were able to show up for an afternoon, shoot their scenes, and be done. Because it's like no effort at all. But the movie sounds amazing. At some points, I wonder if it would be a better viewing experience to mute the video and just listen to the audio, because it really is incredible. But yeah, that's this movie, and that's why it's number 4 on my list. Coming in at number 3, I had to cheat a little bit on this one because it's Jurassic World Dominion, and I had to cheat a little bit because it's not actually in Atmos, but it is in DTSX. So 6 is half a dozen one way, 6 is the other. So it is, like the others, a really big, dumb, stupid movie that sounds incredible. The dinosaurs in this movie sound amazing. And there are so many scenes where the dinosaurs are like creeping around the characters, and you just hear them like breathing and growling as they move around behind you and as they're flying overhead. It is a fantastic surround sound film. It sounds great. The movie itself is super dumb. If you haven't ever seen it, probably don't bother. It really is dumb. My main complaints about this movie are, for a movie about dinosaurs, the dinosaurs that do play a part in the movie, for the most part, it's just seeing the dinosaurs. Like, they're just wandering across the frame, or they're just there. And there's not a lot of tension. There's not, at almost no point in the movie do you actually feel any real danger to the main characters. It is almost entirely just tension free. This is not a joke. My nephew was watching this movie, and about halfway through, he got up and walked out, and he muttered under his breath. He's like, this is so boring. This movie bored a teenage boy. And I don't blame him. It really is. The movie is really quite boring. But but it sounds so, so good. The dinosaurs in this are awesome. They don't look great. In fact, I would argue that the dinosaurs in the original Jurassic Park actually look better than the dinosaurs in this one. But the sound is great, and that's why I own it. Number 2 on my list. This movie is so, so dumb. It's called Monster Hunter. And it is dumb because it's just so ridiculous. I can sum up this plot in about 3 sentences. An Army Ranger unit gets sent to some other realm. They fight monsters. Most of them get killed, and one of them is able to return back to Earth and fight more monsters. I think I got that in 3, maybe 4. That's it. That's the entire movie. And it is nonstop just fighting with monsters. That's all they do is just fight monsters. You wouldn't think that fighting with monsters would be a necessarily boring thing, but it goes on for so long that at some point it does kind of become a little monotonous, a little tedious. But this movie sounds amazing. It sounds awesome. The monsters are great. The surround sound, the heights, it is just incredible. And that's why I own this movie, because as dumb as it is, as stupid as it is, as in some points kind of boring as it is, it sounds great. And so I love watching this movie. So there you have it. Okay. Coming in at number 1 on my list of the top 5 dumbest movies in my collection is Moonfall. They don't get any bigger, dumber, or stupider than this one. This movie is so ridiculous, so over the top, so preposterous. I can't even describe this movie. I wouldn't even begin to explain this plot. It's not worth explaining. However, the sound design in this movie is top notch. The bass, the surround sound, the heights, it's all there. This thing is a surround sound fest. You have to hear it to experience it. You have to experience it to understand how great this movie is. I bought this movie knowing full well how dumb it was, but I also had heard how great the sound was, and I knew I needed to hear it for myself, and I'm so glad I did. I've watched this movie multiple times. It never gets old because it sounds incredible. If you have a home theater or a space that has good sound, this is a must watch. You have to see this movie. It really is that good. The sound is that good. The movie itself is terrible. And here's an interesting little bit of trivia about this movie. It stars Patrick Wilson. He also stars in Midway. So this actor, who I think is a good actor, and he actually does a pretty good job in both of those films with what he has to work with. But it's interesting that his movies made 2 of the top 5 in my list. So kind of interesting. So, well, there you have it. Thanks for watching.